So welcome back to section 3 or lecture 3 for this week. At this point we are going to continue here with some of the research concepts and tools, and at this point we're going to look a little bit into the second part when you're doing research, that of actually performing the search. So in the previous section we discussed what sources you'd select, and here we are going to do go through some of the steps on what to keep in mind for your searching, for the actual searching for the gold for your research. So to search, it means to look for or examine in an effort to discover something. So you're looking, let's say, for gold, you're digging for gold, so you're actually searching for it, and you're examining what you're, in order to find, to discover something useful for that interest that you have. Just a couple things. The first thing what you need to keep in mind is to acquaint yourself with the topic. Figure out, learn a little bit more about the topic, and this is more of a summary what we covered earlier. Browse through the encyclopedias, try searching the library catalog, the online databases as well, and we'll go through those in a minute. And then look through the subject categories on the online catalog. That's another tool for you to keep in mind. And what I mean by that is you go to the library catalog and you search, for example, on the topic of economics, and then under economics there will be subtopics in there. For example, outsourcing or management or human resource management, and there is all these subcategories or subjects within that specific category. Like, for example, you outline the topic, put a circle in the topic, for example, let's say outsourcing. And then in this outsourcing, you find out, for example, what is it? That would be one area. Then it would be, another one would be what's happening, status, for example. Another one would be benefits. Another one would be issues. So you're kind of like doing, in a graphical way, you're doing an outline of all the different issues. So then, once you think of the subcomponents of each issue here, that'll be pretty much a paragraph for each item. Then you develop a thesis statement. A thesis statement would basically be one sentence, usually in the first paragraph of your paper. And this, I don't claim to know all the research here, and again, this is the point of this, is to give you the tools to show you what's available in this class. But the thesis is going to be a sentence that outlines what the big idea for your paper is. What are you going to cover in this topic? So let's get back at this point to the actual searching of the resources. We'll learn later as well in this class that everything that you search out there pretty much is put into a database. The database usually, in our case, we have the online catalog. That's a database in itself, and think of it like it's an electronic filing system. But even if you go on Google catalogs everything into a huge database of millions and millions of records. So what that database has is it has all these records. For example, book, title, author. So one field could be book title, another one could be author, another one could be the date it was published, and then number of pages and all of that type of stuff. So that is what's called one record, and we'll learn more about databases in this course in a couple weeks actually. So that's what's referred to as one record. When you go to Google and you search for something, for example, the word computer, and then it comes up with one of the listings there, it's going to give you the title of the item, it's going to give you the URL for that item, it's going to give you a description and all that type of stuff. All of that, it's a record. When you search for something in the library system, the book, for example, the Four Gospels, that's going to be the title of the book. It's going to be Four Gospels, the author, and all that type of stuff. So parts of a database are the actual, sometimes those are also referred to as the fields that you can search for, and the fields or the records. The most common one, it's actually the word record here. So like I said earlier, you have author, title, source of the description. You could have what's called an abstract. This is basically a brief summary about this item, that book, or whatever it may be. So you're basically, the concept here is that you're searching databases. Now when you search databases, you'd search most of the time by keyword. By keyword, what that means is that just like when you go on Google and you search for the word computer, that's a keyword that you're searching. Now if you're doing studying the impact of outsourcing in the United States, then probably your keyword in this case, it would be outsourcing. So look for the specific terms in your topic when you're doing your research. Now when you're doing a keyword search, very similar to this, just computer or outsourcing, if you go back to our first lecture here, that would be a simple query or a simple search, because pretty much it's just a single word. Now there are additionally here, you could use keywords for your searches, such as and. So you could say outsourcing and impact. So you're telling the computer to search for both of these terms. For example, computer and privacy. You could use the other keyword or. So you're asking outsourcing or impact, or computer or privacy. Another one is, and we'll cover those in a little bit more, not. So you could say outsourcing but not the impact. I'm not interested in the impact of it, give me just outsourcing. So you could actually use outsourcing and impact, and then not India, let's say. So you're using keywords to limit the searching capabilities. So if you're using and here, notice you're getting motivation and adults. It's going to limit those. Instead of giving you thousands and thousands of records, it's going to give you only what's common between the two. Like I mentioned earlier, you can use or, which broadens your search, and it searches any of the terms. And you'll have, for example, motivation, all the results here, thousands and thousands of them, and then adults, you'd have thousands and thousands of them. So it's not really too useful, but yet it's something for you to keep in mind as a concept, as a keyword that you can use in your searching. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, you can use the not. For example, motivation, not children. Here it will be to exclude results. And probably at this point you are thinking, why am I not showing you this on an actual search in Google and so on? The reason for that is because we are going to actually do these searches in another one of those sessions in a few minutes, and I'll go through each one of the databases and resources that are available and use some of those concepts that I'm showing you here. So far I covered a couple of the things in this lecture as far as searching, a couple of the concepts, how to lay out your idea, and what keywords to use. Now I'm going to get a little bit into the search strategies. So a couple of the search strategies are basically being specific about your searches, then also using good keywords and phrases, and then try different variations of the same search. For example, choosing good keywords and phrases. If you're doing the outsourcing component there, or motivation in adults and so on, you do just a variation of different combinations of those words in your searches. Then you'd also be specific and then try different variations. For example, search engines, they use sophisticated equations to calculate the number of times a search appears on a page and all that type of stuff. But if you reword it around, you could get different results. So don't get frustrated if you're not finding the results that you want on a database. When you do your searching, try it a different way. Rephrase your words, and that's your strategy in this case. Further stuff here for your searching would be also to use the advanced searching techniques, and also use the browse by subject, and then use also different records to broaden your search. And what I mean by that is, for example, if you go to Google or if you go to an online database, there will be an advanced search area. Advanced search, you can limit the results and put additional parameters for that specific type of search that you're doing. Browsing the subject, like I mentioned earlier, you're discussing the topic of business. You'd browse the different subjects under this category. So you have management, you have investment, outsourcing, and so on. And even if you go under each category here, you'll see subcategories for each one of those. So again, the idea is to use specific keywords, to use different techniques and strategies for it, formulate your ideas about your topic from the very beginning, and do a little brainstorming before you get going there. So the next section, what we're going to cover here is going to actually be about evaluating your resources, evaluating your findings, because I'll go hands-on here in a moment to show all this searching and what we have found, but then also we need to keep in mind some of the concepts on evaluating those resources, and that will be next.